How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There is a lot to get into. We see crypto falling here today and the overall stock market falling. We just got some inflation news. We have a ton of news on what's happening with the Sam Bankman-Fried trial. We also have Tesla starting to accept crypto for payment again for a certain product, which I want to talk about, and we have a lot more. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification so you can see future videos just like this one. And while you're down there, there's a link down there to Bag Tracker AI, which is an app that I'm creating with just a few other people to track all your assets in one place. I would highly suggest getting in on this early. Just pre-register, put in your name and email and what you want to see tracked or what you think would be good to cover in the app. So that way we can get a little bit of feedback. You'll definitely want this, and you'll be able to denominate your net worth and different assets in cryptocurrencies. So you can look and say, hey, I'm worth 2 Bitcoin, I'm worth 10 Bitcoin, I'm worth 5,000 Cardano, that kind of thing. And while you're down there too, I also have probably the best offer. Actually, it's guaranteed to be the best offer out there for Treasure. Treasure just announced their Treasure Safe 3. And with the links underneath the video, I can get you 15% off Treasure devices. I'm working with Treasure, and basically they said, hey, you can either take 15% commission or you can split that up to give discounts. And I said, give all the discounts to the followers. I don't need any commission. So with those links, you'll get 15% off using the code MyFinancialFriend. I don't believe it's on Treasure 3, but you can get the other treasures for 15% off. Now, let's take a look at the market. So we actually have ETH doing something pretty interesting. We pulled up this chart recently. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. Yesterday, we tested this trend line. So we broke below it a few days ago, then we went right back up to the top, and now we fell right back down to almost near the bottom. And that, I think, is pretty bearish to see that jump up and then fall right back down. Obviously, just getting rejected at this trend line and then falling back down. And part of that is due to the fact that we do have some pretty bad inflation data over the last 2 days. We talked about PPI yesterday, but today we got CPI. It's higher than expected. Core CPI was as expected. So unfortunately, we have CPI, we have inflation moving up, which obviously isn't that good for risk on assets. And this is just a time where I've said I think Bitcoin dominance will move up. So, seeing that happen is not too surprising to me. Now, while we do have that going on, and while we do have the stock market falling here today, a decent amount actually, we continue to see why Bitcoin's so important. And I've covered that a lot recently. So many news articles that have shown why Bitcoin's important. And we won't spend long on this one, but over 1 million people in Japan have had their bank accounts frozen just in the last 2 days. 11 of the largest banks in Japan are not working, including JP Morgan Chase. Bitcoin is still online. So yes, if you need to get something done, if you need to transfer wealth or transfer money, Bitcoin continues to work. Banks go down, intermediaries go down, intermediaries stop what you're trying to do. They flag your transactions, they freeze your accounts, they tell you what you can and cannot buy, but Bitcoin doesn't. So that is one more reason why I think everyone should have some Bitcoin. Just for liquidity reasons, it is very useful. Now, that being said, there have been a lot of different things that have come out of the FTX trial, and this includes even FTX trying to suppress Bitcoin. If you remember, right after FTX went down and pretty much blew up, Bitcoin's price went up, which was so interesting to a lot of people. And part of that could be due to Sam Bankman-Fried instructing Caroline Ellison to keep selling Bitcoin if it's over $20,000. They kept on keeping Bitcoin suppressed to prop up their own tokens and be able to stay alive. We also have news that they lost $190 million to avoidable scams and simple mistakes, including phishing links and storing private keys in plain text files. Now, I've been protecting the keys. It's unbelievable. But there's been a lot more. I just want to cover a couple of these things. This is a very long thread going through everything that Caroline Ellison has said. Some of it's just unbelievable. I just want to cover the most important things. Where would the money Alameda would take from FTX come from? Ellison says customers, and then she talked about her mental state. They said that they took large loans. So we'll go over that a little bit more, but they took straight from customers. They say how much USD had customers deposited versus how much was available to them on FTX. Ellison says they deposited 13 billion, but only 3 billion were available to them. So they spent $10 billion. They said it had been borrowed by Alameda for investments, spending, to cover other holes in their balance sheet. Let's continue on. What did you do? Sam said, don't send the balance sheet to Genesis. So Genesis was looking for some information. They wanted a new updated version of the balance sheet. They say we were borrowing 10 billion from FTX and we had 5 billion in loans to our own executives and affiliated entities. We thought Genesis may share the info. So what they did was they made 7 alternatives of their spreadsheet, their balance sheet, and sent over the one that looked the best over to Genesis. So let's keep on moving down. Alameda by September 2022 was borrowing $13 billion from FTX customers. So they took everything, basically everything that was on the platform, they used to repay loans and as collateral for other investments. So they took everything. It's a massive Ponzi. He or she talks about selling Bitcoin if it's over $20,000. Sam Bankman-Fried set up disappearing messages for 1 week. So that way people could not trace back some of the information that actually came out in this trial, but some people didn't turn on disappearing messages. One of the things that they wanted to disappear was that they sent a large bribe to China. They had accounts frozen worth about $1 billion, and they sent over $100 million to get those accounts unfrozen. Just unbelievable, some of the stuff that's come out. And we already know some of the stuff from months ago that FTX was doing and some of the rumors going on. But the fact is that it continues to get crazier. The rabbit hole continues to get deeper. And now it's still affecting companies. This just came out from Walter Bloomberg. Crypto broker Genesis halts withdrawals. And I was a little bit confused by this because I looked and I was pretty sure that this happened months ago. It came out about 11 months ago that they had halted withdrawals, but looking back now, I'm wondering if that was just the earn program and that you could still withdraw from their typical program or just their main entity that wasn't doing any kind of yield generation. But now it sounds like no matter what it is, it's halting withdrawals, and that's been pretty obvious. They declared bankruptcy a very long time ago, so I'm not even sure about that. That's just kind of my theory, or they're just rehashing old news. Now, moving on from what happened today, let's get onto some big events that are happening tomorrow. All of the largest banks in America report earnings tomorrow. This is the start of the earnings season. Next week, Wednesday, Tesla announces earnings, and we move through a lot of the different tech companies. But tomorrow, we get kind of a state of the economy. Banks know how people are sitting, whether they're spending or whether they're saving, what they're doing. So we can get a little bit of information about consumers tomorrow, and it's just a general gauge of the economy. And then we also could have some big news for Bitcoin. Now, I would not get too excited about this, but they say spot ETFs might be approved this Friday, and here's why. This Friday marks the deadline for the SEC to appeal the Grayscale Bitcoin spot ETF decision. If they don't appeal the court's decision, they will have no further options to decline any other spot Bitcoin ETFs, and thus they will be forced to approve them all. So if the SEC doesn't appeal by the end of the day Friday, they are essentially guaranteed to see all spot ETFs approved. I would not expect this to happen. Chances are they just appeal and it gets pushed back, but still something that's worth considering and paying attention to. Now, something that's already happening that's a for sure thing is that Tesla is now accepting crypto. They added Dogecoin as a payment option for Woodmark sock set. Now, they're starting with socks, but maybe they move to bigger products. Maybe they move to cars eventually. I would see this more as a testing grounds. Maybe it's just a one-off thing, but they have kind of stated that they would be willing to accept crypto again, specifically Bitcoin, when it was at least 50% renewable energy from miners, which it's come out that that's the case. So I would not be surprised if in the next year or so they start accepting crypto again. And then last thing I want to cover, speaking of Tesla and kind of the car industry, we just learned that Ford's largest manufacturing plant in the world generates about $25 billion annually for them, about a sixth of the company's global automotive revenue. 8,700 union workers at this plant went on strike today, and it sounds like they're going to lose possibly $100 to $200 million a week from this being down. I mean, even if you just look at the revenues, right? 25 billion divided by 52 weeks. They make about 500 million a week in revenue from this plant. So they're going to lose a lot. And this obviously is just terrible for Ford and terrible for the big three that this continues to happen with the UAW. But I'm not saying that people shouldn't strike and work for more pay. But I'm just saying that this is devastating. And hopefully they can come to a resolution that everyone's happy with. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video, though. I think it is interesting that Bitcoin did as well as it did with someone selling billions of dollars of Bitcoin, probably billions of dollars. And some people think that this is still going on right now. Some people think this is happening with Binance. I mean, when you look at BNB token, it's holding up quite well during this bear market. And a lot of people think that this could be what's happening. Let me know your thoughts on this all underneath the video, though. I'm not trying to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, just telling you what's going on and what's some of the information, what are some of the rumors that are happening. Thank you so much. Check out the link to Bag Tracker AI and to the discounts on Treasure wallets if you want underneath the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.